Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Let's be real. Dating apps can be a bit overwhelming, you know,
Definitely overwhelming.
but for Gen Z, it's like the main stage for finding love or, maybe just a fun time.
Right.
Ever wonder how to take those like fiery online chats and turn them into a real date?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Well, that's what we're going to dig into today.
I'm excited. I think what's super interesting is how Gen Z uses these online spaces to show who they are, but also to actually build trust.
Okay, so it's more than just, having a killer selfie.
Oh, way more. It's like you're building something real, something solid.
Hmm. So instead of just posting, we're talking about like a whole vibe.
Exactly. You're sharing memes, cracking jokes. You're basically showing the world your own personal style.
So it's like those super specific TikTok trends, but for your dating life.
Yeah, it's all about finding that common ground, right? Like you see a meme and you're both like, oh my gosh, that's so us.
You know you're speaking my language because I love a good meme.
Oh, doesn't.
So you're saying it's about showing your real personality and seeing if it clicks with someone else.
Totally. You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're just putting yourself out there and seeing who vibes with it.
That makes total sense. But how do you know when it's time to actually like go on a date? Is there a secret signal or something?
No secret signal, but you'll feel it. The conversations start to go deeper. You're sharing more about your lives and it just feels natural.
Hmm. So you're saying it's like leveling up in a video game.
Kind of. You go from joking around to talking about your dreams, what you're afraid of, what you'd eat on a breakfast date.
Whoa, hold on. Breakfast date hypotheticals. That's a whole new level. Okay, so how do you even suggest going on a date without making it super awkward?
Well, for Gen Z, it's all about keeping things low key. Think less like a grand romantic gesture and more like a natural next step.
Okay, so no skywriting or singing telegrams.
Right. It's more like, hey, I'm checking out this new ramen spot, want to come? Or there's this art exhibit this weekend you should totally join.
That makes sense. It's like saying, hey, we've got this fun thing going online. Let's see if it works in real life too.
Exactly. It's just taking that next step.
But even with the chill approach, first dates can be scary.
Totally. Nerds are totally normal.
Do you have any tips for dealing with those pre-date jitters?
Well, first, remember, you've already done a lot of the groundwork. You've shared jokes, maybe even some embarrassing stories. You're not starting from zero.
True. You built up some kind of connection.
Exactly. So pick a comfy public place for that first date. Think cafes, parks, bookstores, places where you can relax and just be yourselves.
Okay, so maybe not skydiving or a haunted house for a first date.
Probably not the best idea for a first meetup. Keep it simple, keep it safe, and focus on having fun getting to know each other better.
I like that approach.
Yeah.
So what would be your ideal first date spot? I'm curious.
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, I love exploring a new part of town together, like walking down those little streets, finding those hidden gems. It feels
Oh,
adventurous.
that sounds amazing.
It's like you're making a new adventure together, building on the connection you already have.
I love that. So don't overthink it. Just be yourself.
Yeah,
Let your natural charm shine through like you did online.
exactly. And that's the key. Don't stress about trying to be perfect. Just bring those shared jokes, those interests you bonded over into the real world.
So no need to pretend to be someone you're not. Just
Yeah,
be authentic, have fun, and see where the connection goes.
you got it. Real life is full of surprises, and that's part of what makes it fun. Embrace the spontaneity, go with the flow, and see where the connection takes you. But of course, like with anything, there are some things to look out for. It's easy to get caught up in the whole excitement of it all and kind of build this fantasy in your head.
So tell me about it. I've definitely been there. It's like you set yourself up for disappointment before you even start.
Right. Real life is messy and unpredictable, and that's
Mm.
okay. Just be flexible. Go with the flow. Don't expect everything to be perfect.
It's like those memes,
Right.
where the expectation's this glamorous, picture-perfect date, and then the reality is, well, let's just say things don't always go as planned.
Totally. And sometimes what's hilarious online just doesn't land the same way in person. Like you try to tell a joke and it just falls flat.
Yeah, that's the worst. It's like when you try to explain a TikTok to someone who's not on TikTok, it just loses its magic.
Exactly. So just be mindful of the context and the other person's sense of humor.
Right, like read the room, basically.
Exactly. If a joke doesn't land, just laugh it off and move on. Don't overthink it.
So basically, don't try to be a stand-up comedian on a first date.
Yeah, pretty much. Just be genuine. Let the conversation flow naturally. Remember, a first date is just about seeing if there's a spark in person.
It's not a job interview or a performance.
No resumes or tap shoes required.
I like that. So just relax, have fun, and see where the conversation takes you.
Exactly. And remember, you've already built that connection online. Now it's about exploring it in the real world.
Okay, so we've talked about building trust, suggesting a date, and dealing with those pre-date jitters. But for our listeners who are ready to take the plunge, what's the best way to actually make that move from online to offline?
Keep it simple and straightforward. A casual invitation that kind of connects back to your conversations online works really well. Like, hey, remember that coffee shop we were talking about? I'm going tomorrow afternoon. You should come.
So it's like saying, hey, we have this cool thing going. Let's continue the adventure in real life.
Exactly. And choose a place that's comfy and safe for both of you, a cafe, a museum, a park. Those are all great options.
And of course, let a friend know where you're going and who you're meeting safety first.
Always a good reminder. Then once you're on the date, just be yourself, ask questions, share stories, and see if those online sparks turn into real life chemistry.
It's like when you hear your favorite song on the radio, but this time it's playing live right in front of you.
That's a great way to put it. You're taking that connection to a whole new level, and if you're laughing, making eye contact, and genuinely enjoying each other's company, well, that's a pretty good sign you've got something special.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today, from building trust online to navigating those first date moments. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, I love a good thought-provoking question.
Think about your current online conversations. Is there a funny inside joke, a shared passion, or a unique experience you discussed that could translate into a memorable first date? What little detail from your chats could you bring to life in the real world?
It's all about finding those unique things that connect you and turning them into something special.
Like taking those digital building blocks and using them to create something new, something real, something that exists beyond the screen.
And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting. It's about taking that leap of faith and seeing where it leads. You might just be surprised by the amazing offline experiences waiting to be discovered.
Like maybe you recreate a funny meme you both loved, or plan an activity based on something you talked about online.
Yeah, exactly. You're bringing those digital sparks to life and seeing if they turn into something even bigger, you know?
It's like taking those pixels and turning them into actual memories.
That's a great way to put it. And that's the magic of taking those online chats and turning them into real dates.
So to all our listeners who are kind of hesitant to make that move, remember, you got this. You've already built that connection online. You've got that trust.
Now it's time to take it offline and see if those sparks fly in person.
And hey, who knows? That first date could be the start of something really amazing.
It could be.
So go out there, embrace the adventure, and see where these digital connections lead you. You might be surprised by what you find.
Definitely. There are so many amazing experiences waiting to be discovered.
We're totally rooting for you. And remember, whether that first date turns into a second date, a lifelong friendship, or even just a funny story, the most important thing is to have fun, be yourself, and enjoy the ride.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about connecting with awesome people, both online and offline.
That's what it's all about.
And on that note, we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of, well, pretty much anything.
Until then, happy dating, everyone. Keep those chats lively, and don't forget to look up from your screens every now and then to see the magic happening all around you. See you next time.